Hey there guys, Drew at Excellent Cool Games. It's Wednesday night and I've just been spending some time working on a deck that I've continued to try and refine for a good friend of mine and one of our regular patrons of the store, Scott Knudsen, who I'm hoping will get a chance to pilot this deck. Um, it is Yarok the Desecrated is the general. Here, I'll try and move it up. So what we've got here is we've got essentially a panharmonic on a creature. It says if a permanent, it has death touch and lifelink, which is nice. What we're really after is that triggered ability clause there. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, the ability triggers an additional time. So things like Muldrifter would trigger for 2 cards, and then they would trigger for another 2 cards. Things like Risen Reef will trigger twice if the Risen Reef, is the second, if it comes down after Yarok. Yarok himself is an elemental, so when Yarok comes down, he will trigger Risen Reef twice. Other like Shriekmaws and Avenger of Zendikars, all triggered abilities, all elementals, so they all kind of work. There's sort of this elemental sub-theme to the deck. What I've done is I've put a lot of work into it. I'm really happy with the amount of high power uncommon and common cards are in the deck, but I don't want to. In saying that, I'm gonna shuffle it up and play through it for you and just kind of show it off to you. There are a lot of very expensive cards in the deck right now. I don't think you would have to build the deck that way. I think you could build it minus the very, very expensive cards, and you'd still have incredibly powerful deck. So I'm going to shuffle it here just a little bit to just haven't set it up for a video, and who knows, could be a very bad hand. I don't know. But yeah, the deck plays off of triggered abilities. It goes infinite in any number of different ways, mostly because of cards like Cloud of Fairies and Peregrine Drake that get to untap lands. Those cards normally untap just enough lands to make that spell free, but all of a sudden now if you're getting that trigger twice, you're actually netting a bunch of mana. And there are even cards in here that I don't have in here yet, like Treachery, that untap lands and gain control of creatures. There are lots of all those spells are incredibly good. So I think that's good enough. The deck also has 40 lands because it's very important to get to not miss any of your land drops. And once we get going, the engine is so powerful that it won't matter if we're drawing extra lands. We even have ways to play additional lands on purpose. So here, I'm just going to deal it face up because you're playing with me. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A pretty okay hand. Definitely one we would keep because what we're going to do, we don't have any green mana, and we don't have any way to get green mana. This would be a very risky keep, given that in our local meta, we allow 1 free mulligan. I would take it in this situation. See, our draw would have been an Eternal Witness, more double green, absolutely no green in our hand. So that would be a hand that I would mulligan, because you need to see a path forward in your hand. It isn't enough that you just have some spells to cast and lands. You need to see a path forward when you have an opening hand, and that was all just a bunch of reactive stuff and a poor land base. So we're gonna, especially since we've got 40 lands, there's a high chance that we're going to get enough lands in hand, so having some spells that matter will be nice. Okay, we're immediately looking whoa, look at that. We're going to be off to the races with this. Here, I'm going to move the light so it's a little less direct. So we're going to have a Muldrifter, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Temple, Misty, Forest, and an island. So that's our opening hand. Let's go. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to start with this duel. because it opens us up the most. Soul Ring right into an Arcane Signet. Well, you know, that's good, because now we get to turn 2 Yarok. It'd be nice to not draw so many lands at this point, but you know, it is what it is. So we're going to play this, and we are going to turn 2 Yarok. If this gets killed at this point, we basically Muldrifter next turn, and we need to spend a couple of turns rebuilding so that we have something to do meaningfully. You can't just cast Yarok again with, you know, and just hope that he lasts a full turnaround. I would say at turn 2, there's a pretty high chance that he lives at this point. Cultivate. Very cool, except what we're really after at this point is the ability to cast spells. So what we're going to do here, this would allow us to scry twice, which means that we're going to get meaningful draw. But four cards is so much draw that I don't know that we need to be picky. And I think we can just wait and see what land we want to play. So what we're going to do is we're going to blue and here, and we're going to evoke Muldrifter for 4 mana. We're going to let it die. We're going to get 1 Swamp, 2 Guardian Project, 3 Scape Shift, 4 Simic Growth Chamber. Kind of rough draw, actually. But at this point, we can now cast a Cultivate to at least get more lands on the field. We're going to have a really tough time next turn because we've got that Guardian Project, which will be incredible if we draw a creature, but we literally do not have a creature in hand. We've just drawn so many lands that we haven't been able to really get on top of a... Okay. So now we untap. Haha. Alright. So this is good enough because you know what? We can cast it. So there's our 4 for Guardian Project. Here's our 4 for Ravenous Chupacabra, which gets to kill 2 different things because it gets 2 triggers, and we are going to get 2 Guardian Project triggers. I do realize that I probably cheated because I played 1, 2, 3 cards so far, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. 9, not 10. 9. So that meant that I started the turn with 8 cards in hand. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of one of these. This would have been our draw. And so the 4 plus the 3 means where we're supposed to be at this point. Okay, so Guardian Project triggers twice. We draw once. We draw again. Wow. So we're right back in the situation we were in, where we have nothing. Draw. Oh boy. Well, we literally, I mean, we sit around at this point, or, I mean, we can do this ridiculous Hail Mary pass. Check this out. We can... So we only have 5 lands in play. So, okay. So we're going to cast Scape Shift. Let's sacrifice these 2 because they're already tapped. And let's get... Here, let's tap one more. Let's send out the forest, or the swamp too. Let's get a Field of the Dead. a Dryad Arbor. Now, we haven't played a land yet, and a Crumbling Vestige. Crumbling Vestige is one of the interesting tricks that I have found that isn't anywhere on the EDA track or anything like that. It just doesn't really mention it. It's an incredible land in the deck because it enters and it gives you 2 mana instead of 1. So we're down to 0 mana in the pool. No, sorry, we've got the 1 black in the pool. Land. We're going to add a green and a green. So black, green. Because Dryad Arbor is a creature, we get to draw 2 cards, Bramble Sovereign, Ghostly Flicker. Okay, so we're getting to move here a little bit, and we've got 3 mana in the pool. I think we play this. No, we don't play anything yet. We can't meaningfully flicker anything else other than... Here's what we do. Green. We Ghostly Flicker. Now the question is do we feel like we need more mana? Because we can flicker Crumbling Vestige and get 2 more mana out of it. Or we need 2 more draw. I think we need more draw. Our hands is so many lands. So we would flicker Ravenous Chupacabra. We can flicker, I mean, it doesn't matter because this comes in with Summoning Sickness, so it still can't tap for mana. So we would get those. We get double triggers, so we get to draw 4 cards. We have 1. We had to tap this blue to cast Ghostly Flicker, so let's say we've got a green in the pool right now. We get to draw 4 cards. Benthic Druid, Elvish Rejuvenator, that'll be nice. Mana Vault, okay. Worldly Tutor. Okay. At this point, we have 1 in the pool. It's too bad we drew this last. If we drew this anywhere in the middle, we would be rocking it right now, but we're not. So, let's use our green, I suppose. No, let's use our, let's leave the green and add a whatever, doesn't matter. Yep, there's no way to get more mana here, I don't think. I suppose technically we'd be able to do it right here if we got a Vesuva. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend the green. We're going to spend 2. So we've got a colorless in the pool. We're going to Elvish Rejuvenator. We're going to, just because we've got a little more information, we're going to stack the Guardian Project triggers at the end so that if we want to use Worldly Tutor, we can. So now we get to look at the top 5 cards twice and put lands into play. There's a Mana Confluence. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yep, we didn't get our... So we just put that into play. Okay. So now we've got a colorless in the pool. Pretty much nowhere to go. And at this point, this is where the deck basically just hits into... it basically just hits into infinite mode at this point. Because if at this point the board isn't going to get killed here, we basically can tutor for a Palinchron because we've got enough mana, and we can generate infinite mana, and basically start like, well, we just draw 2 cards every time Palinchron comes down. So we have infinite draw and infinite mana off of Worldly Tutor. That was actually a bit more of a struggle of a game compared to some of the games because of just how much land we drew. But that is kind of how the deck works. Lots of extra triggers. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle up. I'm going to play one more time, but I'm going to put it into a separate video.